Most people think you need a skill to sell on Fiverr, a real skill, design, coding, writing, something you spent years learning. But here's what's wild. There are sellers making $500, $800, even over $1,000 a month on Fiverr, offering services they complete almost entirely with free ChatGPT. In the time it takes to watch this video, you could have your first gig live. And the most in-demand services right now are ones any complete beginner can pull off today. Fiverr works differently than most people think. You don't apply for jobs. You post a gig, basically a little listing that says, I offer this service, here's what you get, here's the price, and buyers come to you. That's it. No resume, no interview, no experience required in most categories. The thing that makes this interesting right now is that buyers on Fiverr don't care how you made something. They care that it's good and that it arrives on time. If someone needs a product description written for their Etsy shop, they want a good product description. They are not sitting there thinking about whether a human typed every word. They need the thing done. ChatGPT, the free version, which is available to anyone with an email address at chat.openai.com, is genuinely surprisingly good at producing professional quality writing, ideas, and content. It doesn't always get things perfect on the first try, but with the right instructions, it gets close enough that a little light editing gives you something a real client will happily pay for. The sweet spot is finding Fiverr services that buyers consistently need, that ChatGPT is actually good at producing, and that don't require you to already be an expert. There are more of these than you'd expect. And the three we're going to walk through today are services real people are actively buying right now. Not theoretical categories, not niche experiments. Actual listings, making actual money. What makes this work isn't just knowing ChatGPT exists, it's knowing how to talk to it, how to give it instructions that produce something useful instead of something generic. That's the part most people skip, and it's also the part that makes all the difference. Stick around, because that's exactly what we're getting into. The first one is product descriptions. If you've ever shopped online, you've read one. It's that paragraph under the product image that explains what something does and why you should buy it. Small business owners, especially people selling on Amazon, Etsy, or Shopify, need these constantly. And writing them is tedious. So they outsource it. On Fiverr, you'll find people charging $5 to $30 for a pack of product descriptions. That might not sound like much until you realize ChatGPT can help you write 5 solid ones in about 15 minutes. The second service is bio writing. LinkedIn bios, Instagram bios, author bios, speaker bios. People find this genuinely hard to write about themselves. They freeze up. They don't know how to make themselves sound good without sounding arrogant. A well-written bio gig, especially for professionals, can go for $15 to $50 per order depending on how you package it. The third one is email writing. Specifically, cold email sequences, welcome email sequences, or newsletter drafts for small business owners. A lot of solo business owners know they should be emailing their customers. They just never do it because they don't know what to say. A 3-email welcome sequence on Fiverr can sell for $30 to $75 easily. None of these require you to be a professional copywriter. None require a portfolio when you're just starting out. You can create 2 or 3 samples with ChatGPT before you even launch the gig, just to show people what your work looks like. And if this is the kind of thing you want more of, Stack Future drops one of these every day. The actual skill here isn't writing. It's knowing how to get the best out of ChatGPT, which brings us to the part that actually matters. Most people open ChatGPT and just type something vague. Write me a product description for a candle. And what they get back is fine, generic, forgettable. The kind of thing that sounds like every other description on the internet. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. You give ChatGPT more context, more detail, You treat it less like a search engine and more like a new colleague who needs a proper briefing before they can do good work. Here's what that looks like for a product description. Instead of write a product description for a candle, try something like write a 100-word product description for a hand-poured soy candle called Rainy Afternoon. It smells like cedarwood, vanilla, and rain. The target customer is a woman in her 30s who buys premium home goods. The tone should be warm and a little poetic. Avoid cliches like the perfect gift. That level of detail? ChatGPT does something completely different with it. The output goes from generic to genuinely usable. Sometimes it's great on the first try. Sometimes you respond with, make it a bit more conversational, or cut it down to 80 words, and it adjusts immediately. For bio writing, ask your client 3 questions before you start. Their name, their role, and one thing they want people to know about them. Paste those answers into ChatGPT with a prompt like, write a punchy 3-sentence LinkedIn bio for a freelance graphic designer named Priya who specializes in brand identity for food businesses and wants to come across as approachable and creative. For email sequences, ask what the business does, who their customer is, and what action they want the email to drive. Then prompt ChatGPT to write a 3-email welcome sequence with that context. It'll have a first draft ready in under a minute. Read it, tweak anything that feels off, and send it. The editing step matters. Not because ChatGPT gets it wrong, usually it doesn't, but because reading it through and adjusting 1 or 2 things is what makes it feel like your work and not just a machine output. Clients can feel the difference even if they can't explain why. Setting up a Fiverr account is free. When you create a gig, you'll fill in a title, a description, a price, and a delivery time. Keep the title clear and specific. I will write 5 product descriptions for your online store. Beats, I will write product descriptions every single time because specific titles show up better in search and immediately tell the buyer exactly what they're getting. For your description, tell the buyer what they'll receive, how the process works, and what you need from them. Keep it short. Buyers skim. 3 short paragraphs is plenty. Pricing. Start lower than you think you should. Not dirt cheap. That actually makes buyers nervous. But $10 to $15 for your first few orders is fine. The goal at the start is getting reviews. 1 or 2 5-star reviews on a new account changes everything. After that, raising your prices is easy. For samples, and you do want at least 1 or 2 in your gig gallery, just make them yourself using ChatGPT before you launch. Pick a fake product, a fictional business owner, whatever. Run it through the process you'd use for a real client. Screenshot or save the result. That's your portfolio. The whole setup, account, gig, samples, first listing live, takes maybe 2 hours. That's it. And from that point, you're a Fiverr seller. Someone who can actually be hired and paid for a real service. The fact that ChatGPT is part of your process isn't a shortcut. It's just how you work. Every professional uses tools. This one happens to be very good. Here's the thing to walk away with. The barrier to starting is way lower than it looks from the outside. You don't need a fancy skill. You don't need a portfolio built over years. You need a free ChatGPT account, a Fiverr profile, and the willingness to actually go set it up today instead of saving this to a watch later playlist and forgetting about it. Pick one service, product descriptions, bios, or emails. Write yourself 2 samples and post the gig. That's the whole plan. Next video, we're going further. How to use free ChatGPT to write and sell digital products, which is where things get really interesting because you make something once and sell it over and over. If this was useful, tap the like button. It genuinely helps more people find this stuff, and that's the whole point.